Yeah, he's locking in the rankings, counting down the best. The top 10 list is here to put the players to the test. From the local legends to the rising names, he's breaking down the stats and changing up the game. Here comes the Cobbler, stepping to the mic, bringing you the interviews the Cornhole family likes. Flick of the wrist, yeah, he knows the score, getting all the inside stories right off the board. Top 10 climbing, the focus locked tight. Big ass energy is dropping tonight. Mouths hang open as the boards they dance. The Cornhole Cobbler leaves nothing to chance.
All right, welcome back to Cobbler's Corner. Interesting episode tonight. A lot of controversy that happened, and I wanted to give them an opportunity to speak out and tell their side of the story. There is really no good side. However, you're going to feel that I may be very sympathetic to these people. It's not the fact that I'm being sympathetic. It's my entire goal in starting this was to spread positivity. So all I wanted to do was to give them an outlet to share their story. I'll let you decide whether you're going to hate them, whether you're going to be able to forgive and forget, or hold them accountable. That is entirely up to you. That is not my goal to persuade you one way or the other. So I tried to keep this terrible situation as positive as I could. I can see the trains of thoughts that occurred to make this happen, and I don't agree with it, but I at least understand where they were coming from mentally. So I do need to quickly say that my mic cut out in the middle of Kevin's interview, and I lost my side of most of it. So there's some things that might not fit as well because I cut all my dead time out because you couldn't hear me anyway. He does get his story out and across. It's just probably not as cohesive as it was when we actually did the interview. So I hope that you enjoy this. Drop a comment, drop a like, share this out, and be ready to be the judge. All right. Before we get started, quick shout out to my sponsors. You have Shelly Bunch at 23 Forever Bookkeeping. If you need help with the financial side of your business, please reach out. She can help clear your books and such to make you more of a legitimate business. We have Steve Fisher with Precision Home Designs. He just finished my kitchen and it is beautiful. I couldn't recommend him highly enough. And you have Chris Rapicelli with First State Properties and Crown Home Real Estate. So if you're looking to buy or sell a house, especially in the Delaware area, please reach out to Chris and he'll get you set up with that. Also, last but not least, thank you to the Big Ass Brothers. I greatly appreciate your shows, and every now and again you do come and chat with me. So it is greatly appreciated. All right, guys, if you haven't listened to them, they do mention this whole situation on their podcast this week. I haven't listened to it yet. It just dropped today, but I am going to be giving that a listen very shortly. So I will catch you on the boards. All right, welcome back, Delaware Cornhole. I am here with Kevin O'Brien. He is one of the co-owners of 856 Cornhole, and he just had some fuckery go down this past weekend, where he may have inadvertently not been the best director he should have been, but I don't think that he had much choice. And I want him to be able to explain the story so that you can at least see where he's coming from. Evening, Kevin. Would you mind, first off, set this up? How did you get involved in this tournament to begin with?
All right, so I got involved. I was helping my other partner, Dave, out at a barbecue event one day when I got a phone call from another cornhole company saying that he was having a family emergency, and he gave this lady my number, said I'm just as good as him, and he first asked if I'd be interested in doing it. I told him I would check my schedule, and I figured out that I was able to do it, got a hold of the organization, and she gave me a brief description of what was going on and how it's their 5th annual tournament that they've been doing for the Haddon Township Wrestling Club. for the last 5 years.
Okay. What are the details? Because again, the format was all messed up to me. When did you find out about all that stuff? Um, Shit, where the fuck was I now?
All right, so the format that I was given was it was a bring your own partner, round robin, double elimination. And when I called the organization and I spoke to her, I was like, most tournaments you usually have an A bracket and a B bracket, with the A bracket being like more of your competitive ones, and then your B bracket being your lower division, social, more for fundraiser and everything. I was like, normally there's caps on both divisions. And when I spoke to the other company that was running it, he said that he was doing a 14 and a half and a 17 and a half or a 17 PPR cap. So I created everything, sent it over to the organization, and they were like, normally we only have one bracket and then split it into like a pro versus Joe rounder or brackets after division. So essentially it was one round or one bracket for rounders, then divided into your top 16 for A and your lower 24 for B,
Okay.
which they advised me to do when I wanted to do 50-50 right in the middle, 20 in A, 20 in B. And they said we have more backyard players, so to put more in the lower division.
Okay. Um, when when did you find out about the payouts?
I was briefly discussing about it with the organization back in April, and I told her with more people there should be more payouts. And she was like, "Okay, we'll see what we could do." And when we got there, they had the preset checks already made as their flyers, and it was for both divisions. So I didn't find out until Saturday morning what the actual payouts were, but it was talked about what they were going to be based on the numbers from last year.
Because they advertised 1,000 to first,
It
which
was cash payouts to first, second, and third on both divisions.
right, but it still said $1,000 to first, didn't it?
No.
Uh,
That's what I was told based off the numbers from last year, because it was preset from 500 for first and 500 for first in both divisions.
Okay, so you believed it was 1,000 to first. You just didn't realize it was 1,000 to or 500 to both first place to make 1,000.
Correct.
Okay. And really, honestly, the only reason that even matters is because there was another tournament that was advertising $1,000 first to first payout that wasn't very far from this.
I believe it was 7-8 minutes away.
Yeah, so again, I feel like that is an important note. And the fact that you didn't find out about this until Friday or Saturday morning, and they were pre-made checks, even if you complained that this isn't that there was nothing to change by that point that you got there.
Correct.
Okay. Um, so
And the payouts were, like I said, they were preset by their sponsors and donations throughout their community.
all right. So there was an accusation thrown out that you encouraged a player to sandbag this tournament. Is it true?
I did say something after a few drinks, but we were all hanging out and we laughed about it. We're like, we laughed about it. I said, "Oh yeah, you could sandbag," just like ha ha ha. And this player was like, "I don't think I could do that. Going to a charity tournament, throwing X, Y, and Z bags that I normally throw, and wearing a shirt that I always represent with to do that in a charity tournament. I don't have the integrity to do that."
Okay. Um, but you had heard that there possibly was going to be some sandbagging that was going to occur, though, right? Maybe not
Uh,
from him, but maybe from others.
from another team, and he kept changing his stats, saying, "Oh, I only shoot a 5, I shoot a 4, I suck, blah blah blah." I'm like, just play your game, because I played against this other person, and he shot 9s and 10s. So
So he was going through a confidence crisis. He was talking about it, puts it on your mind. Um, and this, I had to do some research here. I went back and I found last year's tournament, and this happened last year as well. This because this is your first year with it, unless you really went back and researched it, you wouldn't know that this had already happened. Um, but this club should have learned its lesson last year, or maybe it just wasn't as brought out last year. But the winner of B
I
bracket,
believe the I believe the person running it last year moved down south. Like not the club running it, we're not the cornhole community, but the organization that was running it. The person moved down south to retire, be with their family and everything. So there was a whole new person within the organization that was taking over for it. So this was also her first year doing it as well. Overall, I felt it like it ran smooth. Like I said, there was 40 teams. 35 out of the 40 teams never played before. I was fortunate enough to have extra sets of bags to help people out. They were using my personal bags. They were using somebody else's personal bags. So like everybody was helping each other out. And we're out in the middle of the field, so there was no PPR, no stats, especially for a charity tournament. And a lot of the people were either kids that were part of the wrestling club or their parents or just coming out to support the community. So it was our best thing not to do a PPR tournament when nobody ever played Squirrelio before or played Cornhole before. So, I mean, it was a nice day. I was a little high and it was everything ran smooth, minus people not checking their phone. But that's I don't have any control over that. And then once I was yelling to get people's name up in the court, they came up in the court. The game played, yelled another one, and they came up. So, once I saw that it was what their scores were during the round robin, I kind of figured something was up, and I wanted to make known, like especially for a charity event, like why would you be going 1-3 and scoring 40 something points in a 4-game round robin when we know that's not possible? So at that mind, it kind of clicked that they were fucking around a little bit. And then halfway through the bracket, one of the players came up to the person that was helping me and says, "I regret doing this." Correct. I think it was like 2 or 3 games away from King Seat. I feel like it should have been an integrity issue, especially if they know what they were doing without saying anything. The only place that was windy was up by our tent, and everything else in the field there was like no wind because it was surrounded by trees. I mean, I have thick skin, and it takes a lot to annoy me. But the one thing that I really cannot stand is when people purposely do something to aggravate others. Yeah, and the fact that they both went 1-3 and scored 42 or 43 points. Exactly. And like it happened to me at another tournament before. I'm not going to mention that name because I don't like to slander other places that I played at or whatever. But it happened in the tournament, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, can I please be in the A bracket? We all know this person." Like I said, I'm not going to mention any names. And I flipped it around, and then someone was like, "Hey, I'm supposed to be in B bracket. What happened?" Or I'm supposed to be in A bracket. How come I'm in B? Like I said, I was not really in charge of the money. 90% of the registration was done through Venmo with the organization. So that was up to them. And the club organizer did go up to both teams and said, "Wow, you're really good for being in B bracket." And they just like laughed and said, "Yeah, ha ha ha," and like shrugged their shoulders type deal. And she was like, "You're pissing a lot of people off," like, and walked away. So it was brought to the organizer's attention like 3/4 of the way through the bracket. Yeah, I played. I had internet issues, even though I have my own hotspot, but my laptop was overheating, so I was running everything off of my phone. And normally I don't play like when I'm running an event, but since it's for a good cause, it's a charity thing, so I'm more than happy to give out my money. I mean, there was a kid there, part of the wrestling team, that just tore his hamstring 4 days ago and was playing. Yeah, knee brace, crutches, and playing cornhole. I was like, more power to you. I know. I was like, I pull my hamstring or a little strain, and I'm out for 3 weeks. Like, so I mean, I give it props to them. Like, they're all wrestlers. They're high school students, middle school students, and the money that was being raised is to help them further their education with wrestling and help them get new equipment and mats and uniforms and help them travel to different places. So, absolutely. Because, like I said, I do a lot for charity, whether it's cornhole or anything. I've always been a massive charity person my entire life. And if anything, they should have just manned up to it at the end of the tournament when they were confronted and donate their money back. If they would have donated their money back, this wouldn't have been where it is today. But the fact that all four of them took their money and then were out of here faster than you could say happy birthday, like that's what pissed people off. If they would have been like, yeah, I fucked up, I'll make the donation back to charity, blah, 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 cool. I know one of them bought 50-50 tickets and raffle tickets as well as myself. No, I know for a fact one person did. I'm not too sure about the other ones. They put in money for 50-50 and the raffle. Well, one, I'm going to be the better person. I am going to apologize for offending people if it might have offended them. But like I said, I don't like people that cheat in any sport. So if it pissed anybody off, whether it's friends, families, significant others, or whatever, deep down inside, I do apologize. But I also don't like getting threatened by some of the people to host other tournaments as well. No, but I do want to say if they do want to talk to me, I'm pretty sure they all have my number, social media, and I am willing to sit down and talk to them like I am sitting down talking to you. And we should all be the better person in this. There's mistakes all over the place, like you said. First year organizer, first year runner, so it was a clusterfuck. Absolutely. Have a good one.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cobbler's Corner. I am here with the Sandbagger himself, Jeff Kogan.
You're such a dick.
Look, that's what you're here for this week. But honestly, it is good to have you back. I am excited for you to be able to share your side of the story. If there was a shit show of a tournament over the weekend, but I want to say that there were faults at multiple levels. So Jeff is here to give us his perspective on what happened. Go ahead, Jeff.
All right. So, yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a bad day all around on multiple levels. I'll definitely say that. And I also wanted to tell my side of the story. And I also wanted to say that I understand that there are going to be people, players and such that are going to be completely against me, say that I disrespected the game, my integrity was not there, all those things. And then there are going to be others that are going to hear this side of the story and going to be 100% behind me. And then there's going to be a bunch that are in between that. And I understand that, and I'm okay with that. I just wanted to come out and try to clear the airwaves. So that way it is uncomfortable for anybody going in any facility or throwing bags going forward.
Okay. So you started off with a crazy accusation that you were told to sandbag.
So Kevin and I had a discussion Friday night before the tournament. We talked. We joked around. We talked. We were serious. We weren't serious. It was out there that was an option for sure, without a doubt. I'm not denying that. We basically talked about how the payoff structure would not favor the bottom bracket, but it would be equal to the upper bracket. We went from there to that they would not split the brackets to an A and B flight from the get-go. All this was suggested.
Hold on. So when you said they, you mean not
meaning
Kevin.
the host organization, yes.
Okay.
Yep. I'll use that term now. So the host organization denied anything that that Kevin wanted to implement or advise them on all of those things, including the payout structure, breaking up into an A and B bracket, and he advised them on, this is what's going to happen if you don't. It'll promote sandbagging, for example. It will, somebody's going to see the money and going to come and try to get it, basically.
Right.
So he was pretty pissed off about that, and we joked around, and so I wasn't a believer, but I was at the same time.
It was a possibility.
Yeah, these were possibilities for sure. So I get there Saturday morning, and it was sold to me that this was a $1,000 guaranteed first place tournament. And we also discussed on Friday night that I'm like, dude, 7 miles or 7 minutes or whatever it was down the street from the same place is another $1,000 guaranteed tournament. I'm just going to play that, man. But then he sold it on me that, no, we are $1,000 guaranteed tournament. So I'm like, all right, dude, you're my buddy, or at least I thought you were. I'm going to, I'll come support you. Fine. So I get there, and it's the $1,000 guarantee is 500 to A bracket, 500 to B bracket for getting first place. Like, that's so freaking misleading. And that was not Kevin. That was the host organization that pulled that shit.
Okay.
So now when I get there, I'm all right. After our discussion Friday, and then the second I walk in the door, so to say, it's already just has this sketchy vibe to this place. So then we discussed our options. I really didn't talk to Kevin after that much at all through the day. But then it was, my partner and I, we discussed, this is freaking bullshit. The structure is bullshit. We're throwing left-handed. And that's what we did. The other team also, put their heads together and decided to do the same thing. They suggested it to me, and I said, look, this is what I see, and this is what we're doing. I didn't talk them into it. I didn't talk them out of it either.
Okay.
So that's what we did. But I definitely did not recruit anyone else to do this.
You said the possibility out loud. That is probably
Possibility, sure. Right. Possibility was there.
Okay.
I'm getting alerts. So yeah, I mean, especially after we saw what the payout was and how it was completely misleading, I'm like, all right, I called it Operation Southpaw. Operation Southpaw is in effect.
Right.
I mean, but really the bigger point was that it was just a scam, because what Kevin had mentioned Friday night is that the organization said that they want half the pot to go to their people, and that I really disliked that comment. But I didn't hear it myself; it was hearsay from them. I did hear that comment from the organizer on Saturday morning before the tournament started. And that lit a fire under me that I was like, yo, Operation Southpaw in effect. This is bullshit.
So I see both of your points. Because they are putting the organization, they are putting the tournament together, they're hosting it. And so they have a bunch of these people that like the game, but they don't invest into the game. So they want to try to take care of them. But at the same time, when you're advertising $1,000 payout and you want half of that to go to your local backyard player, I see how you see it is messed up.
Yeah, and that's where we were, and that was just as the day progressed, it just continued to make me more and more right. Now, not right in my actions and how I played the game, but right in my assumptions on what this organization was trying to do. And basically, they were there to scam us and take our money,
Okay.
or at least as much money as they possibly can. Now, I will say we all donated to the raffle tickets. We all donated to the lotteries and things like that. We still put money in yeah, the 50/50s, the where you put the tickets in the baskets.
Chinese auction.
I think it's a Chinese thing. Yeah,
Yep.
we all put extra money into that stuff. And let me tell you too, the this this is just one part of this organization. I don't want to call them out and make all of them look like assholes. The coaches were great. The coaches of the team were freaking awesome. The kids, even better. Every single kid that was there, that was on the team, came around and shook our hands, introduced themselves, and thanked us for being there. They were freaking incredible. It's just this small group of the fundraising parents that were just there to scam the shit out of us. So I just want to make that clear that this organization as a whole has a very small part of them that they really need to look at. The rest of them were freaking awesome. They really were.
And you had donated through the raffles and such.
The raffles, the
Yep.
buy-in, there was a donation in that, which is a $50 buy-in. I mean, I didn't do the math until the day of. And once I understood the payout structure, $4,300 was collected in buy-ins. They paid out $1,700 combined. So that's under 40%. I already did the math for those that are getting their calculators out.
Okay.
And if they, and I guarantee you, if and the reason, and I can give you a good reason, if they had gotten, say, 60 teams instead of 43, payouts were the same, because they already had pre-made signs up of the payouts. And when I saw them when I walked in, it said 500 to first, 250 to second, 100 to third, and I took that as, okay, that's a per person. So I didn't really question that until a bit later. I mean, because I was like, I thought it was $1,000 to first. So I'm like, okay, they just got signs up 500 per person, and no, that was not the case.
Okay.
It sure as hell was not. So it's very misleading, just right out the gate.
Okay. Yes, I see how all this would rub you the wrong way. Which I guess makes it easier. You win, you pocket the money, and you peace out. But yeah, if you're just looking for something to do and you see something advertised a certain way, there was the $1,000 one down the street that you could have put serious effort into and tried to win. You chose that tournament because of the advertising.
Yes. Well, the advertising and
because it was Kevin running it.
It was Kevin, who I thought was a friend of mine until he had to call me out. And also I was looking forward to playing a couple of the other teams that were ranked higher than us. It really was. But then when it became the payout, the way the payout was, like, I'm here for 5-6 hours spending a Saturday. I could have been doing other things at the pool, and now most likely scenario is I get the break even. Like, come on now.
So
that's
I'm sandbagging is a sucky thing to do. However,
absolutely
it's historically this isn't the first time this has happened.
No, never.
This happened last year as well.
At this tournament,
there
I'm not.
There was one team that threw rounders I mean, and again, I don't know who these players were. A lot of them weren't in Scoreholio, but the team that went 1-3, they were a really good team. I'm I think they are SPRs are 68 and 69, or 69 and 66. They're they're in the 60s, both of them. Uh, and all these other teams just were unranked because they had never had an account before. Um, but yeah, they ran through and whooped up on the B bracket last year. So historically speaking, you didn't do anything new to this tournament. Now, again, that I think that is terrible on the not the organizer, the club's level, because they saw this mistake last year. Suggestions were made to them, and they still
Eliminate it.
went
Yeah.
with their format that they saw got broke last year.
Yeah, correct. 100% correct.
They could have made a private bracket where you would have let all of your boosters and everyone else that are your backyard players, and if you still wanted to make money, then you advertise the competitive side too, and then you have people sign up into the right divisions.
Absolutely. And all this was suggested to them. They refused.
Now, I I can at least see your point of view. Would I have done it myself? I I hate losing. Um, I don't think that I could seriously do that. But I see where you're coming from.
It is, and I'll continue now with something that'll blow everybody's mind. Um, and just what I led off with in a vacuum, cornhole, period. No, no, absolutely not. Nothing I would ever do intentionally. Nothing I've ever done. Nothing I ever would do. Nor do I condone it. Anything like that. Right?
In serious tournaments, in games.
Yes, absolutely. With tournaments with my peers, not peers, whatever it is. No, I absolutely I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't need to do that. I want the competition.
Yep.
And even I said earlier that the competition, there was some competition there for sure that were better than me. I wanted to play them. I don't get to see them often. I wanted to play them.
Yeah.
But as the day wore on, all of my assumptions, whatever you call them, became true. So the woman who was the lead ringer of the, we'll call it the fundraising side of this organization, because I do want to still want to make that point that was completely separate than than the kids and the coaches and
Right.
all that who they were raising money for. So the fundraising side of it, the woman was walking around selling 50-50 tickets. And if the first misleading story didn't get you, this one should. 3 different times I heard the same conversation, and people were walking up to her saying, "Hey, here's $20. Just buy me whatever tickets. Can you keep them on yourself? And then like if I hit, I'm just going to donate the money back to the club. That's fine." The woman's response all 3 times was, I can't do that. It's illegal for me for you to be able to donate a 50-50 money back to the club like that." And I'm sitting here listening to this. I mean, comment below if anyone has ever heard this ever said in any type of a fundraising event that you cannot donate the money back.
I mean, I've seen people like ask not to have it donated back, but never said you can't.
Specifically said it is illegal to do that. I heard it 3 times.
I mean, I'm sure most 50-50s I go to are illegal.
Probably,
I
but
mean, who
I
gets a
think you
permit
got to
for
get
them?
certain permits
Yeah.
and shit for that. But well, all right. So anyway, that was the message that was being delivered by
Okay.
this woman who was walking around selling the 50-50 tickets.
Okay.
Shortly thereafter, the drawing occurred. Guess who won the 50-50? The woman walking around selling the tickets that said it was illegal to donate the money back. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. So, I mean, like I've said, on the cornhole side of it, the integrity of the game and all of that, do I feel bad about that? Absolutely. If you take the macro level of all of it, no, I don't. I mean, they misadvertised their tournament. They they absolutely would not have increased the payout as more players came in. They wanted to keep the money for themselves. And then the woman running the 50-50 won the 50-50, and then that way she's not obligated to donate the money back to the club. She got to keep the money for her efforts in organizing the event. So that's my story. That's why I did what I did. And there isn't too much more to say about it unless you got any other questions there, AJ.
Um, no, I, I understand why you didn't donate it back. I don't agree with it, but I understand why you didn't. Um, you've put it out there that you saw this. Not so much that you saw A56 ran this like a clown show, only because you got to know the backstory of why things were the way they were. But he was just
Yeah.
put in charge of a shit show, and it probably wasn't managed the best way. Um, Regardless, to a real game, I do not think that you would sandbag in a normal switch, in a weekly switch, is what I'm
I
saying.
mean, even anything at a state level or any level.
Yeah,
So I want the competition.
the
You know.
state level and all, I put a higher emphasis on because that's something that we usually really, really want to do well. But your weekly switches, I mean, they're not all that important. But regardless, we play with the same
Right.
people every time, so we want them to have respect for us. You were at a place where you were, it was shit show all around. They mislabeled their stuff, so it pissed you off. These weren't a bunch of people that you normally play with, and you're never going to see them again. And you saw an opportunity and took it.
Well, I mean, but the opportunity wasn't to make money in this. It was to call out a shoddy organization and a shoddy director. Was the opportunity. I AJ, I even posted earlier today. I made $100 profit after I still contributed to their 50-50 tickets, which the woman stole. I contributed to their other basket tickets and all of that and the
Yeah.
buy-in. I mean,
And so you did give to the organization because you said that the coaches and kids were
oh,
awesome.
absolutely. Kids were great. They really were. I mean, that was it, they were so respectful. I mean, and it's a shout out to their coaches because their parents, at least their mothers, are shitty people. I mean, I'll say it. Like they are, but they've grasped one of their coaches. Their coaches were awesome. The kids were awesome. I mean, they had a couple of choice people in there that
Yeah.
they weren't good people. That's all there is to say.
All right. Again, I can understand how you believe that you were matching their energy.
That's it. That's a great comment to say. I mean, the scammers got scammed, is what I would have said, but matching their energy is a more positive way to say it. I got you.
Yeah. All right. Um. Well. Anything left to say out there to our Delaware cornhole world?
Hey, love y'all. I'll be back on the board soon.
All right, man. Thank you
Peace.
for your side of the story. Peace.
Appreciate it, AJ. Later,
Yep.
buddy.
Later.